coming. My name's John Parvin. I run the direct payments team at County Hall, part of the financial support function. Here today to talk about self-directed support and direct payments. A little bit about what self-directed support is, actually, what it means to people. I think what we are quite good at as a local authority, and maybe as a local authority is what we're best at, is actually making things that should be very simple, very, very complicated. I'm going to try and pick apart as much as I'm able in 15 minutes about self-directed support and direct payments and how they can knit together to deliver a much better outcome for the people who are using them. What is self-directed support? Well, in simple terms, we should take the view that during life, sometimes we all have needs for support. Sometimes those needs for the whole of your life, but regardless of what your care needs are, regardless of what your needs are, regardless of what level of support you're eligible for, we should take the view that actually the person best placed to decide what support you get is you. Or if you're not able to make those decisions, the people, your loved ones and family around you should be able to take that support. What we shouldn't do is think that because you have need of support from the local authority know best, they can put their arms around you and do everything for you. That's not the way it should work. We are very keen on making people as independent as they possibly can be, and that's independent from the local authority as much as they possibly can be. Not saying that we want to push them away so they can't receive support from us, but enable them to live their lives with us, financial support perhaps, but enabling them to make their own decisions as much as they're able to. That's what we mean about personalisation and self-directed support. So what we're going to talk about today, in as much as we can in 20 minutes, we'll talk about personal budgets, talk about how you can take your personal budget, talk about some better outcomes with direct payments, your rights and responsibilities when you have a direct payment, and we'll talk some extracts from the Care Act. When you see stuff on the slides in italics, it's stuff that I've lifted directly from the Care Act legislation. Actually, that's not quite true. The Care Act legislation is a legal document and written in a way that nobody understands, not even lawyers, I suspect. So the government very helpfully extracted it out and put it in what they call the guidance document. So actually what the legal clause is and what it actually really means in the real world. It's still a 500-page document, but we've picked out the bits which are relevant for this presentation. So let's talk about personal budget. What is it? What's a personal budget? Simple terms, we tell you how much the local authority is going to spend on meeting your care and support needs. That's as simple as that. We have to tell you that. It's a great place to start, because actually putting it in terms of pounds and pence really focuses you then on, this is what the support I'm going to get. Can I start thinking about how I'm going to get that support? Does it have to be the local authority doing stuff for me, or am I able to use that money in a more creative way, in a way the local authority can? So that's what the personal budget is. The Care Act tells us, law, that we must tell you what your personal budget is at the start of the planning process. Even if that you have no intention of taking a direct payment, even if you are going to ensure that the council are going to do everything for you, you still have to be told what your personal budget is. We should tell you that right at the start of the process. The earlier we tell you, the earlier you can start thinking about how you're going to take that care and support, how you're going to receive that, what's best for you, how are you going to make sure that you or your family or your person you're caring for is going to get the very best support that you can. So we should tell you right at the start. Slight caveat is that we should also explain that whilst the initial indicative allowance can go up, so during the support planning process we might find there's things that you want to do, you want to meet eligible needs, you want to meet your outcomes in a certain way that cost more money. Equally, we might find things that actually cost less money. And actually we should I'll tell you right at the start. People say to me, well, that's really unfair, because people with exactly the same eligible needs are going to get different amounts of money. And that's true. We need to focus on the parity of people's outcomes being met in the best possible way. If your outcomes are being met in the best possible way for you, and your outcomes are being met in the best possible way as well, the fact that it costs different amounts of money, yours might cost more than yours, should be irrelevant. If your outcomes are being met in the best possible way, that's what we should be aiming for. Whatever that costs, it can cost more, it can cost less, but we have to make sure that's done. How much is it going to be? People say, oh, how much is my personal budget? Therefore, how much is my direct payment going to be? The answer always depends. But it must be an amount sufficient to meet that person's needs. That's what the law tells us. We can't be awarding you a direct payment that isn't enough money for you to meet the outcomes. We can't be telling you a personal budget that isn't enough to meet the outcomes. If you have eligible needs, the Care Act says we can have due regard to our budgets on how those eligible needs are met, but not whether they're met. So we have to make sure we give you enough money that's sufficient to meet your needs. How can you use a personal budget? Well, on the right hand side there, traditional commission service, we have eligible needs, you decide the outcomes, we sort everything out for you. We put our arms around, we organise everything for you. Is it person-centred? Is it personalised? Probably not as much as we'd like. We'll make it as much as we're able to, but there are constraints with the agencies that we can contract with, the people we can organise. There will be limitations of what we can do. On the left-hand side is a direct payment. And a direct payment is, for me, the best way for you to become really person-centred, really personalised in sorting out your own care. You have the money, you have the position where you know what's best for you. Not us, not your social worker, not anybody else. You or your family know what's best for you, and we feel those are the best way. In the middle is a combination of the two. You don't have to go all one way or all the other way. It's quite possible and quite within your rights to say, actually, I'd like you to organise this bit of my care for me, and I'd like to sort out these bits. And you can change your mind at any time. There's no set period of time you enter an agreement with us. So if after a month of having a direct payment saying, I don't want this any longer, that's fine. You go back to key work and you change back in. Similarly, if you decide to go commission service and 3 months down the line you think, actually, now I'm in a position where I think I can take more control, you go back and you change it. Your personal budget's still there, the amount of money's there, how you take it is within your control. So how does a direct payment work? Very simple terms, we give you cash instead of services. It couldn't be more simple than that. You choose to take care of your care and support needs, we give you money to do it. We pay you this amount of money that's equal to the cost of us providing the services to meet the eligible needs and outcomes. So once we've agreed what the eligible outcomes are, we work out how much it's going to cost, we agree with them, we give you the money to do that. And off you go and you arrange the care yourself. This is what the Care Act says. They are the government's preferred mechanism for personalised care and support. Preferred mechanism. They provide independence, choice and control, and absolutely agree with all three of those. They do provide independence, choice and control in a way that we can't possibly do if we're commissioning the services. They are the government's preferred mechanism. The government say they are the default position. We should make an assumption at the start of a support planning process that everybody will receive a direct payment. We should make that assumption. Not that we're going to sort things out, but actually the best placed person to decide what you need to do is you or your family. So what are the benefits? Well, you'll see the word up there, choice, choice, choice. That's the benefits. If we look at employing a PA, the choice is you get to choose who delivers your care. We did a lot of service user engagement events around the county, back in May, June time. And the thing that kept coming through from the people who had direct payments is that ability to choose who comes into their home to deliver their care. I had one lady in a wheelchair, and she said before she had a direct payment, she used to dread the door going in the morning. She had like a key safe thing outside so the carer could let the agency let themselves in. And she said she was hoping it would be one of the carers that she knew and quite liked, but often it was somebody completely new. And she said then that person would walk through, say hello to her in her bedroom, and 5 minutes later she's taking all her clothes off and bathing her. She said that's actually quite difficult to go with. She said, but I can't turn her away because if I do, I stay all day in bed. I stay all day in bed dirty, and that's not what she wants. So she didn't have that choice. Moving to a direct payment, she then recruited her own PA. She has a choice over when she comes in. She says, some days I feel like getting up at 8 o'clock, some days I don't. We're all like that. She said, but with an agency, you get up on the time you've agreed. Same every day. She said, some days I feel like going to bed at 10 o'clock, some days I don't. But with an agency, you go to bed when they come in to put you to bed. So she got much more choice and control, and she's built a relationship with the carer. Whilst it's still an employer-employee relationship, it's much closer, more akin to a friendship, so she's got somebody that she knows doing the personal care. That's a real benefit. An activity of choice. We can't commission everything. You'll go out in the exhibition, there's all sorts of places around that we can't necessarily commission, where you might get a real benefit from using, but if we can't commission it, you can't do it unless you have a direct payment. It gives you much more choice of activities. Again, if you want to stay with an agency, if you have an agency that you know, that you're particularly familiar with, and you want to use those and they're not one of the ones that we deal with, a direct payment will allow you to continue using that agency. And finally, respite of choice. This is really, really crucial. I've got a really nice story that this year we agreed funding for a young man with a learning disability for a respite break to go to Dubai for 6 weeks. And everyone goes, the local authority can afford that. And we talked about it with a social worker, and this young man's got quite a severe learning disability, and his sister's his main carer, and she was assessed as needing 6 weeks respite, which is perfectly as it should be. And they tried him before in a specialist learning disability residential placement, and he absolutely hated it. He was in there and he didn't like it. He started self-harming, became very aggressive with the staff. As a result, when he came back, he was in a right mess, and his sister was in a right mess and all distraught because she put him there. And she said, I'm not sure I want to have the respite this year, which would have meant the risk to us if she gets carer breakdown and says I can no longer cope, it's a very expensive placement for us. But she said, well look, they weren't British. She said, we've got family in Dubai who he knows, and he would be quite happy to go and stay in Dubai, but it's going to cost to get over there. And we said, okay, what would it cost? And she came back, and the tickets were about £3,000 all thereabouts, which because they can't have an ordinary economy seat, you needed a business class seat, and she needed to fly everything. We said, okay, well, that's 6 weeks for £3,000. It's £500 a week. Does that look like good value to us? Well, anybody who's ever looked at the cost of a residential placement with somebody doing this will say £500 a week is a bargain. So we looked and said, actually, so the outcomes were going to be better met. The outcome in this case was sister gets a break. That will be better met. For him, it's much better because he's not going to go somewhere he hates and start self-harming and want to attack everybody. And the cost of local authority is probably substantially less. So it's win-win-win. We couldn't commission flights to Dubai, but actually, by using a direct payment, we can be creative. We want to encourage people to be creative, at the same time, meeting the outcomes. So what are your responsibilities? Life scale's a bit like that. If you chuck something in the good side, you tend to have to put stuff on the other side to make it balanced. That's the way it works in the world. So there are responsibilities. If you take a direct payment, there will be responsibilities. One, you need to keep your invoices, your receipts and your bank statements for us to look at. We have a statutory duty to make sure you're spending taxpayers' money in the right way. That's the law, so we will ask you every year to send your bank statements in. Under the Care Act now, if you've shown us that you are very organised with your bank accounts and your statements and invoices, we can delay that for 2 years, so we don't make it too onerous process for you. But you will have to keep them, and you'll need to give a separate bank account. The reason for that is if we're going to look where you're spending money, it's much easier if we've only got one account for the direct payment. And secondly, and more importantly for me, is if you use your personal bank account, it's none of our business what you spend your money on. And actually, if you send your personal bank statements in, we see everything you spend, and I don't want to know because it's none of my business and you shouldn't have to show us. We will need to ensure that you employ people legally, and by that means if you are going to employ a PA, they will need to be registered, and we have them for tax and national insurance. You will take on the role of the employer. We will give you all the support you need to make that happen. If you go out and talk to both Pendrels and Enhams are here this afternoon, they both act for us to help you set up employees. We run a payroll service which is for free with Compass Disability, and a lot of people say to us they don't even realise they are an employer. They send the hours off to Compass Disability, the pay slips are prepared, the P32 so the end revenue produced, and actually it's very seamless. But we do have to ensure that you employ people legally. You can't just pay somebody cash. The direct payment, it is public money. It can't be used in any manner whatsoever, and the DP must only be spent on achieving the outcomes identified in the support plan. That's where we talk about outcomes, and I think sometimes we're not great at actually developing support plans that have outcomes that people understand and can measure. One of the criticisms people say to me is, John, I'm not sure what I can spend my direct payment on. Well, if your outcomes are not clearly defined, it's going to be very difficult to work out, are you meeting those outcomes or not? So we look at making your support plan work. The traditional method is your social worker completes a support plan, and they'll probably complete it in social work speak, in a way that perhaps is not the language that you would use. We had one the other day where one of the outcomes was this young man, I think he was 21, 22, something like that, with a mild learning disability. One of the outcomes was that he was going to be given social inclusion opportunity activities. And his dad said, what do you think that is then? I said, I don't know, I've got no idea. He said, what he wanted was on a Friday night to meet his mates down the pub. He can't get there on his own. He'd like 4 hours of one-to-one support, so he'd go down the pub. But buy his own drinks, that's fine, but he wanted support to get down there. Well, the support plan should be, what outcome is, I would like to not be isolated on a Friday evening. What needs to be happen? I'd like to go down the pub with my mates. I need some one-to-one support. If that's what you're going to do, make it. Nobody understands what a social inclusion activity or opportunity is. Let's tell it like it is. So if your support plan is written by a social worker and you don't like the wording, bottom left-hand side, do it yourself. Say, no, I don't like those words. Or on the right-hand side, you can be having assisted by a family, a carer, or non-native advocate. Again, Enhams, Pendrels, they will help you write support plans.
Daughter advocacy.
Daughter advocacy. Is that what
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, daughter advocacy. They will help you write support plans, because the support plan, when it's completed, really does need to be a document that you say, yeah, that's mine. It's not one that's done to me and been given to me. It's my document, I've helped complete it, I see the outcomes, I know what's happening, I'm going to use my direct payment to meet that outcome, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then you're clear. When it comes to us monitoring, if the outcomes are clear, it's very clear to us whether they've been met by spending the money properly. That's all it is. But really get involved in the support plan. If it gets presented to you and it doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, and you're not quite sure, say, no, I'm going to send this one back, it doesn't work for me. or here it is, I've made my changes, you're quite within the rights to do that. You must do that. Because that's really the key thing to making the direct payment work. Yes, it's all about personalisation. Yes, it's about self-direct support. Yes, it's about you taking control of your life. But actually, your support plan is the one that helps you back that document up. So many people have unspent money in their accounts because they really weren't sure what they could spend it on. We need to try and stop that by getting support plans right. I've got a couple of quotes that really have come to me in recent weeks. I know I bang on about direct payments because that's my job, and actually, but more than that, seeing the results that people get, seeing how beneficial it is to them in their lives, to actually be in control of their lives. Often people who have had the council do everything for them forever, to suddenly have the freedom to say, actually, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to get up when I want to get up, go to bed when I want to go to bed, employ who I want to employ, get the support what I want to, do the activity I want to do. It's so powerful. And these are real quotes that have come from people, and it's very rewarding in my job to find that.